Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to Mod Extra Games and Collectibles. It's time for another action figure review here on the channel, and as you can see on the screen right now, today's installment is going to be taking a closer look at the Marvel Legends series, Marvel's Warbird figure. So stick around, I'm going to give you all the ins and outs, ups and downs that you need to know about the figure, so that if you've been thinking about picking up a Warbird of your own, you'll have good wealth of information and knowledge about the figure to make that decision as to whether she is good enough for you to splash your cash. I'm going to talk you through the aesthetic qualities and the visual experience with the figure. I'm going to talk you through the articulation and posability. I'm going to share some thoughts around the accessories and the added value. But before I get into all of that, let's go back in time and meet with past Chris on the day that this action figure arrived on my doorstep and talk about the packaging experience. Just a special little something to start us off for the mint inbox, folks. All right, so stick around because past Chris is going to be with us in 3, 2, 1. Right, here we are then, folks. So here is Warbird, Marvel's Warbird. Arrived a little bit earlier on while I was working from home, so I'm all done for the day, packed up the work laptop, got my own laptop out, and now it's time to crack this. Well, so far looks like a great figure out of the packaging, but let's just talk about the packaging in itself. So it's standard Marvel Legends stuff. It's obviously got the 85-year celebration motif around it. So the icon, you know, the color scheme, the icons is in line with the other 85 years. Figures that have been released, windowed packaging there showing off the figure and the included goodies, name of the figure, Marvel Legends in the corner there, all fine, you know, same old. Then on the back we've got a piece of artwork there, a bit of comic book artwork. I think that might be some cover artwork from, I don't know, is it from the Brian Michael Bendis Avengers run or something? Let me know in the comments down below if you know where that artwork's from. Or possibly from one of her own books, but then all the legal bollocks and malarkey at the bottom. Same artwork again on the side, celebrating 85 years of Marvel. Yeah, it's a standard contemporary Marvel Legends packet. Not a lot to write home about, but also not completely abysmal either. But with this one, it's more about the figure inside, isn't it? So let's get Warbird cracked open, get a good man-child play session in, gather some thoughts, and I'll return to share some review thoughts. So stick around. Future Chris is going to be with you in 3, 2, 1. All right then, folks. Well, let's get into the review section of the video. And as always, I'm going to get us started with the aesthetic qualities of the figure. Let's talk about the visual experience I've had with Warbird here since she arrived. And I'm going to start with a nice full head-to-toe look, because straight away, this is plucking at my nostalgia strings. It is a great representation of that classic retro Warbird stroke Miss Marvel uniform. I'm an X-Men fan. The large majority of my Marvel Legends collecting focus is on X-Men, and so I've always been a big fan of that Rogue Miss Marvel rivalry stuff. A big fan of the Chris Claremont era of the X-Men comic books, and this just resonates with me really strongly. And as you can see, head to toe, a lot to like, but a really great representation of that classic comic book look. And I'm always very excited when we get a nice classic superhero uniform character in the line. Getting Carol here a bit closer to the camera so that we can conduct a finer inspection of the details on the figure there. You can see what I mean by there being a lot to like. The head sculpt is good. Got a nice, serious, Miss Marvel fighting grimace on there. Well-applied paint applications. You got the lipstick, got the face mask, got the eyes there. The facial features are well-defined. She's a good-looking lass like she is in the comic books for sure. And I love the dynamic flow and the sculpt quality on the hair there, including the little bit of a wash that they've applied there to give it some more depth and texture. In fact, if I turn her around, have a look at that, folks. Isn't that outstanding? Love it to bits. That's the head that came on her out the packet. There is a head swap. We'll look at that a little bit later on, so stick around for the accessories and added value section of the review. One thing I will say, though, as much as I love that hair sculpt and the dynamic flow of it all, It does sort of lock you in with some of your posing into a very kind of specific, narrow niche of poses. If you want to facing the other way sometimes, or flying the other way, it then looks a little not right, like the hair's flowing in the wrong direction. So as much as the sculpt is great, aesthetically, visually, it does affect some of your posing stuff there with it too. But still, great detail, fantastic head sculpt. And then moving down into the torso, you can see that we've got nice kind of sculpted detail in the musculature. You can kind of see there where the costume is pulled tight across the neck, and then just under here, I don't know if you can see that. I brought her a little closer there. You can sort of see the musculature there in the abdomen, the little bit of belly button there where the spandex is pulled tight over the belly button. Got some fabric texture details here where the knickers section is pulled tight across her, bits to be hidden, which is all good and well. But I also love the lightning bolt here too. I've seen them do this on a couple of figures lately, where what they've done is they've painted up into the ab crunch space there in the torso articulation. So if you've got a kind of stretched out flying through the air, the continuity on the lightning bolt is not disrupted, or if she's getting in, throwing a punch, that kind of thing, which is really great to see. And that's a nice, shiny, metallic paint application on the gold there. Very eye-catching, lovely little splash of colour to break up the uniform. The red sash, the waist scarf is all right. It's definitely got a bit of a flow to it to sort of match that dynamic flying flow that we've got going on with the hair, and it's well sculpted. You can see the kind of folds and creases and textural details in there. The knot in the scarf is nicely done, but it's a bit fiddly. It does drape a bit funny sometimes when you're trying to pose her up. There's not a lot of room for maneuver in that, or flexibility. It kind of sits in one way and one way alone. So even though it's a nice splash of colour and it's a good red and definitely matches up with the mind's eye recollection of what that kind of waist scarf sash thing looks like on the comic book character, can be a bit fidgety, and it's only really got kind of one move. Tell you what, folks, one thing I am super excited about with this figure, look, sculpted on boots. Can you see there? Can you see where my finger's flicking on the top of the boots? Excellent. I am so pleased to see the sculpted on boots, and that this isn't just a paint application for this kind of V shape here into the thigh area there. Really pleased to see that. Kind of disappointed that we've got them here on Miss Marvel and we didn't have them on that Jean Grey Phoenix figure that I reviewed a couple of weeks back. Also a bit disappointed that they didn't do the same for these kind of these long gloves that she wears. Shame that they're not sculpted in, they are just painted on. But the blacks are nice and consistent between the legs, the torso, and the sleeves and the mask. I'm very, very happy to see sculpted on boots on a female character like this. It's just a shame that the kind of technology-wise, engineering-wise, they weren't able to get that thigh cut to match up with the line of the boot, and it's kind of cut into this space here, which is a bit janky sometimes when you're posing her. And that's about it, really. Not a great deal else to say. I definitely think she strikes, draws the eye. She's quite striking. Got a nice bit of shelf presence there. Certainly, if you're a classic comic book fan, she draws the eye because you're like, oh yeah, check out that, that classic Miss Marvel look over there. And of course, there is some kind of some of the feminine features are exaggerated in the way in which they are in the comic books to be even more eye-catching. You know what I'm saying? Especially with these kind of skin bits painted in around the bottom of the leotard here to make it look even more revealing in nature. So, yeah, very eye-catching, very striking, but lots to like in the sculpt there. And, the pros are a much longer list than the cons. So I think as far as visual experience goes and aesthetic, I've got to say, Marvel's Warbird is a big thumbs up from me. Absolutely what I was looking for in this nice classic look uniform. All right, well, there's the aesthetic. Let's now move on to talk about the articulation. So Marvel's Warbird here is on the new Marvel Legends female book, which we've seen on Black Widow, Sharon Carter, and the Jean Grey Phoenix to date, and now, of course, Warbird as well. Although I got Phoenix before Warbird, but I think the rest of the world got Warbird before Phoenix, so I've probably done that out of order. Not that that's like a proper in the weeds comment, Chris. But anyway, but if you're not interested in seeing the articulation, then that's fine. I've put timestamps in down below. You just jump ahead to take a look at the accessories and the added value in the set. But if you'd like to take a look at the new female book, this is the first time you're seeing it, or the first time you're watching a Marvel Legends review, or you'd like to know about some of the articulation quirks, then stick around. I'll walk you through it, and I'm going to get started up here with the head. So it's a ball and a hinge joint on the neck and in the base of the head there, which gives you really good down and forward, full 360 X assist on the head there. A little bit of tilting and swiveling, but the hair, the sculpt of the hair, is going to hinder your ability to get a looking, bending a head backwards. So there's a big range of motion in there. But the one that you probably want the most, which is the ability to bring a head back, is going to be blocked by the hair. It's going to be restricted by that sculpt there. Then moving down into the shoulders, you can see we've got the butterfly joint there, giving you some shuffle forward and back. Got the pegged in arms at the shoulder with the hinge in them there, so you can do a full 360 rotation all the way around and then get them out into the T-shape like so. Swivel cut here at the top of the bicep and tricep. Lovely pinless elbow that'll get you all the way up to there. And then the standard pegged in Marvel Legends hands, which will give you swivel all the way around. And then these two fists, as you can see here, have got hinges forward and back. I didn't mention it when I talked about the aesthetic qualities of the figure, but we're still getting these weird, slightly small female hands that look just a touch out of proportion with the rest of the body of the figure, which I find a little bit annoying. Then in the torso, we've got this, what I think is a ball joint in there, or a barbell joint, giving you all that range of articulation and swivel here at the top. And then on this new book here, you can see we've also got an ab crunch at the bottom there, which gives us great forward and really solid back as well. And with the combination of the two there, in a kind of flight pose that you might be going for, you can really kind of get a, taking flight there. Ball joint in the hips there, in the groin area, which gives you the Russian ballet out to there, and kick you forward up to there. Thigh cut here in the thigh, giving you some swivel at that point. Pinless double knee that'll get you to there. And then the standard hinge and rocker on the feet, giving you a big range of motion in the ankles. The high thigh cut, but no boot cut down here. And that's it. The only quirk really is the sculpt of the hair, blocking some of your articulation in the headspace there. You can see here that it's a great sculpt. The new female book, I said it with Black Widow, I said it with Marvel's Jean Grey, and I'm saying it with Warbird here, is a vast improvement on what we were getting with ranges of articulation and posability with female characters, and particularly characters like this that take flight, that you're highly likely to want to display and take photographs of on a flight stand. As you can see there, just it's not finessed, but I've just kind of thrown together a kind of classic Warbird style look here. It's all within the realms of possibility, and this extra torso articulation and things like the butterfly joint, so you can get her hands, her arms like proper behind her like that. Looks really great to me. Really great to me. So big thumbs up when it comes to articulation. Much happier with this new book, and I can't wait to see what character next they're going to come out with in this new book. I'm keeping fingers crossed for a Psylocke. Oh, well, there you go. There's the articulation. Now let's take a closer look at the accessories and added value. And the first accessory we have with Warbird here is this head swap. Good old-fashioned pop it off, pop the new one on. This one has got the kind of less dynamic swooshy hair. It's a little bit flatter, perhaps a bit straighter in nature. The parting is on the opposite side of the head, and it's just a bit bigger and out there, and it's got the larger mask design as well. And she's opening her mouth, there's a little bit of teeth being shown fighting on the bottom lip there. This is more reminiscent to me of kind of 90s Miss Marvel stroke Warbird. I keep saying Miss Marvel, than the other design, which is a little bit more kind of retro classic. I think, I don't know, like I say, my Warbird experience is much more about when she's guest appeared in X-Men comics, and then the later kind of read the Brian Michael Bendis stuff. But yeah, if you want that bigger mask design, if you want some hair that's a bit less swooshy in a particular way and therefore dominating your poses, then this is a good solid choice. And it's nice to have two head sculpts where I'm like, ooh, I could make use of both of these. Sometimes I tend to find myself expressing I've got a preference of one over the other. Just like with the other head as well, of course, let's not forget to mention good facial features, nicely sculpted facial features. Got the paint applications in there. There's a little bit of an expression going on there, kind of. This one's perhaps a little bit more vanilla than the other one. The other one looked a little bit more serious and down to villain fighting business, whereas this one looks a bit, I don't know. It's just it's with those teeth showing and the way they're sort of resting on the bottom lip, perhaps got a bit too much of a pin-uppy vibe for me. I don't know, but other opinions are available. It's still a great head sculpt, and of course, they've continued the excellent sculpting and wash on the hair as well. Although, while I'm on the subject of the hair, I've got a bit of QC issues here. Can you see the little flecks of black paint that seem to have made their way onto the back of her hair here? I'll get that off, but like always, I've left it on just to point it out in the review. Next up, we've got a couple of energy effects, one for each arm. We've seen these a bazillion times before in Marvel Legends, but the colour is nice. It's that kind of transparency orange and yellow look to them there. They swirl around her arm, like energy swirling around her arm. I'm just a bit bored of this particular energy effect now. I've got it in like every colour. You know what I mean? I've got a purple one, pink one, blue one, a whitey looking one, a green one, an orangey one, a flamey one. It's just a bit boring and repetitive, but it's nice to see, nonetheless, a little bit of something thrown in the mix there to be reflective of her power set. I just wish the Marvel Legends design team started to put to bed some of this stuff that's been overly reused and start getting a little bit more ambitious or looking to update a little bit more in this space. And then finally, we've got a couple of hand swaps, one for each hand there, the right and left hand. This is the open palm hand that, once again, while we're talking about stuff that we've seen reused a bazillion times in Marvel Legends, we've seen many, many times before. Again, I don't like the proportions on these female hands. I haven't liked them on any of the figures that I've ever seen them on particularly. They just look ever so slightly not right size-wise to me. But they're okay. They're fine. They serve a purpose. Again, I think, when the Marvel Legends team are looking at ways of having an impact on the whole line, looking at some of these pieces like the hand reuse, the energy effect reuse would probably make a huge amount of difference to us overall, just to give that a bit of a freshen up. But it's there. Open palm hands. You can. It opens up doors of possibility with your posing and what you want to do with the figure. So I can't complain. I'm just obviously feeling a little bit grouchy about reused hands and energy effects today. So the accessory selection is fine. It's all right. I'm going to kind of give it a bit of a middling thumbs up, I think. It's okay. It's certainly more than we get with some figures, you know what I mean? I've had figures of late with just a hand swap and that's it. So it's definitely got a bit of added value in there. It just feels a bit pedestrian, you know what I mean? But the head sculpts, the two different head sculpts, are great and give you a little bit of choice that I quite like there. And of course, you can reuse the head sculpt that you're not using on here. Pop it onto other bodies and other figures. It's got a bit of kit bash potential in it, which is nice. I could just see me like adding these to the box, and once I've sort of settled into a pose, not revisiting them a great deal. It's just a bit ploddy, a bit pedestrian, but there's nothing fundamentally wrong with them. And like I say, it's more than we often get with Marvel Legends. So what am I complaining for, All right, well, there's the accessories for you, folks. Hope that was a useful walkthrough. Let's now take a look at Warbird next to a couple of other figures you might like to pose her with. Okay, folks, well, here we go. Here is Warbird with a couple of rogues. That's the retro card-backed one over there, and that's... What's that one? Is that the Pyro 2-pack one? It's the nearest one I've got to that kind of classic green Brotherhood of Evil Mutants uniform, but that's not where that one's from, is it? That's like when she was a member of the Avengers, I think. But it's I've not bothered with the Destiny and Rogue 2-pack because I just didn't think it was worth the money. But yep, there you go. Get her out with some rogues. Get that rivalry reenacted on your shelf. Here's Warbird with Captain America and Hawkeye. On the Avengers team together. I was looking for my Scarlet Witch. Does anyone know where my Scarlet Witch has gone? She's gone AWOL. I'd have liked to have done a quick look with Scarlet Witch in this segment and add her in with this bunch, but I can't find her anywhere. Or my vision, so the two of them are together somewhere. But yeah, there you go. There we go. A couple of Avengers. Say it properly, Chris. And finally, here she is with fellow new female bookmate Black Widow. What an absolute terrifying, badass pair this couple of figures make. Loving the way they look together. Okay then, folks, well, I've got Warbird just going around on the turntable here for a final 360 look at the figure. When it comes to posing her up, sometimes I'm not greatly imaginative and I've just gone for something really obvious and simple. But you know what? The classic poses are the best sometimes. So just a little taking off, powering up, ready to fight kind of thing there is exactly what you need with a figure like this. Although I definitely need to get some better flight stands. But I think you probably gathered, I'm very happy with the figure. Overall, very, very pleased. I love the new female book. I love the aesthetic. I like some of the extra touches, like the sculpted in boots. Very pleased to start seeing some proper sculpted in boots on the female characters. Yeah, the accessories are a little bit pedestrian, but overall, I think it's an excellent package. If you're an Avengers collector, if you're like me, an X-Men fan who wants one of these kind of classic foils to one of your favourite X-Men characters in the mix, then this is a great figure for you. Or if you just want a great female superhero action figure with on the best new book you can get in Marvel Legends, then you could do a hell of a lot worse than this one. You know what I mean? In fact, I'd recommend getting all three that I've picked up, Black Widow, Warbird, and the new Jean Grey Phoenix, because they're outstanding. They really are outstanding, and they just do open up a wider world of possibility of posing when it comes to things like these flight-style poses. Just that extra torso articulation alone makes the difference, you know? So, yeah. If you're not already decided, hopefully my thoughts today have helped you make a decision as to whether Warbird's the figure for you. So if you're on the fence, hopefully I've helped you manage to fall on one side of that fence or another. But yeah, recommends. Definitely a Mod Extra Games and Collectibles recommends. I'm really pleased with this new Marvel Legends female book. And come on, give me my Psylocke on this new book with sculpted in straps around the legs. Be amazing. I know you're watching, Marvel Legends team. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. I'm finished. All the usual YouTube stuff, yada yada. Hit the subscribe button, blah 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 blah. Hit the like button, da 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 da. Recommend me to your friends, all that good stuff. But all that remains to say is, hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great week, and I'll see you around these parts again sometime soon for another video, hopefully. All right, take it easy, folks.